All right, so obviously CNN and Don Lemon are a joke, but it's nice sometimes when they give you a good example of exactly how much of a joke they are. I'm sure you saw this clip where Don Lemon is talking about shaming the unvaccinated, calling them stupid, etc. And he brings Trump up at some point because they have to do that, of course. Ratings are just better when you're talking about Trump. But they're alluding to this idea that he's anti vaccination, which is weird because Operation Warp Speed was his own thing, and he got vaccinated. And wasn't it just a month ago or so that Trump was booed at his own rally for telling people, hey, you should get the vaccine? So, whatever, say what you will. But to even sort of imply that Trump is anti vax makes very little sense to me. But that isn't really the main interesting thing about this video of Don Lemon. The real interesting thing is when Don Lemon says about people who are unvaccinated, you know, you didn't worry about the polio vaccine, you don't feel that way about measles, mumps, rubella when it comes to your children. And then Don Lemon asks, what's different about this vaccine? And he attempts to provide an answer, which he says, the only different thing about it is your politics. Now, this is one of those times when those near the top of the media food chain really reveal just how clueless they are, how disingenuous they are, or how incapable of critical thinking they are. They can take their pick on which one it is, but setting aside the efficacy or safety of the COVID vaccine for a moment, what is the difference? Does Don Lemon really think it's all about just your politics? That's absolutely absurd. What the difference between the polio vaccine and the COVID vaccine is, well, did it really not occur to Don Lemon that perhaps it's how long they've been around, how long they've been used for? The polio vaccine has been around since 1955. That's 66 years of use. COVID itself has been around for a year and 10 months or so, and the vaccine came out in around February of this year, so it was pretty quick. Now, there are certainly reasons to feel comfortable with the COVID vaccine. mRNA tech has been around for almost 2 decades. This is not something we know nothing about. Hundreds of millions of people have taken it. We're closing in on a year, and I don't see the dead lining the streets from the vaccine. I am not an anti-vaxxer. But I'm not at a loss for words if I hear someone say they're a bit hesitant to take the vaccine. That is disingenuous, and the fact that Don Lemon can talk about this and not even explore that as an explanation of why some people don't want the vaccine, all he says is, oh, it's all about your politics. But the people who don't want to take it yet, that's all he has to say about them, well, that really reveals the complete and utter lack of critical thought that goes into what he says on national television, no less. Did it really not occur to him that the COVID vaccine came out really fast and we're already mandating it, and that might rub people the wrong way? And in contrast, the polio vaccine, despite the fact that we don't know precisely what's in it, as Don Lemon correctly points out, despite this, did he ever entertain the possibility that people are comfortable with it since the polio vaccine has been available for 66 years and has been used tens of billions of times over decades and decades? That small little detail seems to give people a little bit of reassurance that they'll be okay. And they don't have that to that degree when it comes to the COVID vaccine. How someone like Don Lemon, who is supposed to be at least marginally intelligent, how someone like that can talk about this on national television and not even mention that little fact, 66 years, tens of billions of times it's been used, that just doesn't come up? Well, that's just rich. These people are an absolute joke. But anyway, not for nothing, it is possible to also have already had COVID, and you probably have antibodies already, and you go to your doctor and they say you don't need the vaccine. Because here's the thing. Let's say the COVID vaccine has a 0.001% probability that it gives you some adverse effect. Okay, if you already had COVID, and especially if it did next to nothing to you, which is true for most people, and you have antibodies now because you had COVID, then why even add that 0.001% probability of something bad happening to you? Yeah, it's negligible, but that's not my choice to make for you. And you might say, well, you're putting other people at risk. Well, we know that that's not true now. Vaccinated people spread it as well, and if you're really worried, then go get the vaccine. You really don't need to worry about COVID in any real statistical sense if you're vaccinated. That is true. So problem solved on your end. And as I've said for a while now, which is quite frankly the answer to all of this, if you can't get the vaccine and you're terrified of COVID still, then wear a face shield along with 2 masks, double up on gloves, and disinfect yourself every time you leave your home and come back into your home. Extra credit for exercising, eating healthy, and putting yourself into the group that COVID was never a statistical threat to anyway. right? You get extra credit for that because you're going above and beyond there. But not really, because you should be doing that anyway, for yourself. But I realize also that that would take some effort, and if anything is clear about the past year and a half, people don't have much interest in taking care of themselves. They'd rather you all be forced into changing the way you live so they can continue on their own irresponsible path and not look after their own health. But that's all for now. Like, subscribe, share this video. It's extremely appreciated, and take it easy.